Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Hudson here. I'm going to talk a little bit about drawing our skull shapes and our eye sockets, nose, and where our mouths will be. So this is your sketch for your assignment. So you need to create 4 thumbnail sketches showing different views of a skull that you may possibly want to use for your assignment. So my first skull that I'm going to draw is I'm going to draw um, more frontal view. So some things you want to keep in mind is we oftentimes think our eyes are at the top of our head, but they're actually in the center of our head because the top of our head is up here at the top of our skull. So that much space is equal to that much space below. So when you're drawing your eye sockets should be approximately in the center of your face. Halfway between your eyes and your chin is where your nose usually is. And then halfway between your nose and your chin is where your mouth opening would be. So even though we're not drawing a human person, we're drawing a skull, it still pertains to this. So you want to make sure you're using correct proportions and you want to make sure that your skull is balanced by having the same things on each side of your face. So if you are going for a more realistic skull shape, you could often start with a big circle and then typically we have like cheekbones that kind of come in at the bottom of your circle. This one sticks out farther. Now remember, these are sketches. So even though I'm using a marker, you should be using a pencil, and it is okay to make mistakes and you don't have to make it perfect. I'm not expecting you to draw something perfect right now. Okay, so then typically our jawline comes in a little bit from our cheekbones. And we are drawing, sometimes your jaw comes to more of a point, sometimes you have more of a square jaw. So it's really up to you how you want to do that. You could do a side view. In the side view, you want to remember that the back of your head kind of jets out a little bit. So this is approximately the shape of a side angle of a skull. You wouldn't see your full eye socket because that would be over to the side. Oh, I already put my eyes in this one. I didn't do it in the last one. Okay, so we're just going to keep going. So here is like the way that your skull would be shaped. Down here is where your mouth would go. Your face, your skulls will still have teeth even once you are no longer living. Your teeth still stay in your skull. They don't come out. Over here, I'm going to do more of a squarish shape of eye sockets. So remember, anything you do on one side, you want to do on the other side. So you can do them more straight on squares. You can do them more circular. I prefer to do kind of angled squares. Your noses, the opening for where your nose is, because your nose is made of cartilage, it's not actually a bone. So inside of your face, you would have like almost like a upside down heart shape opening for where your nose goes. And then below your cheekbones is where your teeth would go. So some people like to not add the top bone above the teeth or the exterior bone. So you can add the line where your teeth touch your face. And if you really wanted to actually do it the right way, you would actually have like half circles at the tops of your teeth because that's how they go into our jaw. So you might have something silly like that. And And then you would do 2 more sketches. So those are 2 of my sketches. The reason we do 4 sketches, they're just supposed to be small. If you have your sketchbook materials that I sent home, you would fold it, staple it, so you keep all your work together. In here, I did my 4 little thumbnail sketches. They're not really easy to see from the camera because they're in pencil and they're on the back of another project. So then I could create something that's maybe a little bit more cartoon-like to see if I like that cartoon-like look. So down here's where my mouth will be. Over here's where my eyes might be. And then over here's where my nose might be. So in some of the examples that I've showed you, you can see that there are some noses where there's like indentations, 2 separate kind of openings for the nose. But what happens is there is a small bone in between, in the middle of the nose, that is sometimes not very visible. So a lot of times people don't bother drawing that inside bone. So you can put it so that your upside down heart is split in half. Hopefully you're seeing this okay, because unfortunately, doing this on a whiteboard isn't the easiest. So now I've got my teeth. I may want to erase some of my lines to see a better idea as to my total outcome. Okay. But remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. These are sketches, so it's practice. You're practicing. Maybe you want to have some more accentuated head and accentuated cheekbones. And then you could, I already did a pointed jaw, so let's try doing, oops. Let's try doing more of a flat jaw. I'm a little crooked here. All right, so if we're trying to make something symmetrical, there is a trick to doing it. So if you decide that you really like this face, but you like the way that this side looks better than this side, you can always draw just one side. And if you draw one side and you hold your picture over a window, so let's say I draw this side. If I hold this up to a window, I should then be able to see the other side of my face, and I can draw in the rest of my features. So I can copy exactly what I already had into that same thing. So about halfway between the top and the chin, I'm going to create my eyes. I'm going to create these like circular ones. Typically, I don't think the eye sockets are they're a little bit more on the squarish side, but for this project, I'm not looking for realistic per se. So you can kind of get creative with it, whatever you think is best for you. Just a heads up, inside between your cheekbones and your jawbone, there is usually kind of some like dead space between there. And your cheekbones kind of go right into your upper jawbone. If I have this, not the best sketch, but hey, it's there. All right, so once you have your 4 thumbnail sketches, you're going to choose your favorite. You're going to transfer your favorite onto a half sheet of paper. I want you to be doing this in your sketchbook. So mine isn't in there because I already did it for a different video. So here I have my face and it's going to be ready to go the next time we meet. So you do not have to do any fancy designs. You just need to do the head shape and you have to do the eye sockets, the nose, and the mouth. That's it. All right. Thanks for joining me.